Solana coin is still showing some kind of bullish momentums, breaking this resistance and going for a retest. Now let's see what's going on with it today. Good morning, traders. Welcome back to the channel, and we're back with Solana coin right after we had this magnificent bullish movement, breaking this major resistance line and having a nice confirmational retest as well, touching this middle line of Bollinger Bands and getting bounced from this resistance line. Now, before going into details, let's go and see what weekly time frame is giving us. Now, on a weekly time frame, the first thing that's getting our attention here is this zone here on the RSI, meaning we are heavily outside with the overbought market. Last time we've been outside, we had a nice dump movement to the lower zones. Now, with that being said, removing the RSI, looking on the major supports and resistance lines on the weekly time frame, the first that's catching our attention, of course, this first support zone and this line here and this one here as well. Now on the resistance lines, the first major resistance line that's catching our attention is this line here, meaning basically $140. And the second one is of course this line here where we are currently sitting as well, getting rejected basically on a weekly time frame. You can see we touched it and the next weekly time frame had a very nice rejection, completely breaking to the lower zones. So based just on the TA and looking on the weekly time frame, as long as we are below this line, we might see some kind of correctional movement, considering the fact that we are still in overbought zones. Now, going back to the daily time frame, let's go through much detailed overview. So on a daily time frame, first things first, as we talked, we had a nice breakout retest, and currently the retest failed, which means that there are slight potential for this zone to be broken or retested again. Now, the second thing, as you can see, our arrows are more on downward movement towards this third support zone, meaning that we still want to see some kind of correction movement where the first support zone is basically 26%, the second one, which is most likely to be reached, 40%, and basically 60% of market price movement towards this third support zone. Now, with that being said, although we have broken this resistance line, we still want to see this game plan to play out very nicely. And the first thing that we need is a complete breakdown and secure from this resistance line, meaning that we want to see some kind of movement like this, potentially maybe moving upward here, testing again one more time this zone, having a nice complete breakdown, retest, and then movement to the lower zones, something like this towards this major support zone, which is for us basically this second support zone. And with that being said, the second support line is the major one because they are the most closest to the 200 EMA and 100 EMA, which is of course going to make them closer to the market price. We are still in slight bullish momentum currently, although all indicators tell us that we are in overbought zones, markets are greedy, we are having pre-halving push, and with that being said, there is still chance to see a nice drop to happen, meaning a correction moment before the further movement to the upper zones. Of course, going back to these zones here, which are of course this 140 and $90. And once we have this kind of movement to this zone here, we want to see a nice bounce, of course, going inside this zone and bouncing for some time inside the zone before we potentially break out from here. So with that being said, this is our view on the Solana coin, and as always, stay safe, trade smart, and see you in the next session.